Did you know that gardening can be one of the most rewarding ways to stay active, reduce stress, and boost your mood in your golden years? It's not just about planting flowers or vegetables, it's about creating a space where you can connect with nature, breathe in fresh air, and enjoy the sense of accomplishment that comes from watching your plants thrive. And, here's the best part, you don't have to spend a lot of money or put in hours of effort to enjoy all the benefits gardening can offer. Whether you have a big backyard, a small patio, or even just a balcony, there are free and easy gardening hacks that can completely transform your outdoor space and make it more enjoyable than ever. I'll be honest with you, when I first started gardening, I was a little overwhelmed. The thought of digging up my yard, buying expensive tools, and keeping everything alive seemed like a lot of work. But I wasn't about to let that stop me. I knew gardening could be fun, so I stuck with it and started finding ways to make it easier. And, over time, I began to realize that a lot of the things I thought I needed to be successful in the garden, like special gadgets or fancy fertilizers, weren't actually necessary. In fact, once I learned a few simple tricks, gardening became not only much easier but a true source of joy in my life. I felt more relaxed, and I started seeing my plants grow and flourish. It gave me a real sense of accomplishment. Now, you might be thinking, that all sounds great, but I'm a senior. Can I still enjoy gardening without overexerting myself? Absolutely. You don't need to be bending down every 5 minutes or carrying heavy bags of soil to enjoy the therapeutic benefits of gardening. Many of these gardening hacks are designed specifically for seniors, using simple tools, everyday items, and little to no effort at all. They allow you to keep your gardening passion alive without breaking the bank or wearing yourself out. In today's video, I'm going to show you 15 amazing and free gardening hacks that will make your gardening experience not only easier but more fun and rewarding. These tips are practical, accessible, and, most importantly, designed with seniors in mind. You'll learn how to save time, energy, and even money while turning your outdoor space into a blooming oasis. And, to make it even better, stick with me until the end, because I'll share a bonus gardening tip that you'll wish you knew sooner. Trust me, you'll love it. Before we dive into these gardening hacks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss out on more gardening tips, wellness advice, and easy-to-follow tricks tailored just for you. Now, let's get into it and start making your gardening experience as enjoyable and relaxing as it should be. Gardening can sometimes feel like a daunting task, right? And I totally understand why. When you think about gardening, a lot of us picture the heavy lifting, the bending over to pull weeds, or dealing with the frustration of soil that just doesn't seem to cooperate. It can be exhausting, especially if you're dealing with back pain, limited mobility, or just don't want to spend hours on something that should be enjoyable. The idea of carrying around bags of soil, fertilizers, or digging deep into the earth might feel a bit overwhelming. I know I felt that way when I first started, and I'm sure many of you have too. But, here's the good news, you don't have to struggle or break your back to enjoy gardening. With a few simple, creative solutions, you can keep gardening fun, stress-free, and even relaxing. What's better, is that you don't need any complicated equipment or expensive tools, just a few hacks that you can easily do with things you already have around the house. These tricks are all about making gardening work for you, not the other way around. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make your gardening experience easier and more enjoyable. Whether you're working with a tiny balcony, a small garden patch, or even just a few pots on your windowsill, I've got a hack for you. You won't need to spend a lot of time, money, or energy, because we'll be using simple, everyday items that can make a huge difference in your garden. From watering hacks to growing plants in unusual ways, you'll be amazed at how you can transform your gardening routine with very little effort. Imagine being able to grow a variety of plants, flowers, or vegetables, without ever having to struggle with heavy bags of soil or spend hours bending down. You'll learn how to make your gardening more accessible, comfortable, and even fun, all with things that cost you nothing or almost nothing. And the best part? These simple ideas are ideal for seniors who want to stay active in the garden but don't want to feel overwhelmed by the task. So, whether you're dealing with limited space, weak soil, or just need a little extra help in your garden, this video will guide you through quick and easy hacks that will make your gardening journey so much more enjoyable. Gardening should be something you look forward to, not something that feels like a chore. And trust me, when you see how easy it can be with a few small changes, you'll wonder why you didn't try these hacks sooner. So stick around, because coming up, I'll show you how simple tools, everyday items, and a bit of creativity can help you achieve the garden you've always dreamed of, all without breaking your back or your budget. I'll admit it. A few years ago, I was completely overwhelmed by gardening. I'm sure some of you can relate to this feeling. You start off with so much excitement and a big vision of what your garden will look like, but then you get caught up in all the details. You think you need every kind of tool under the sun, every type of fertilizer, and fancy soil conditioners just to get things right. I remember feeling like I was sinking into a sea of information and products, and nothing seemed to work the way I wanted. I thought, I need to get the perfect tools for this, these expensive gadgets and bags of potting soil, and I'll be honest, I felt like I was spending a lot more than I should have just to get the basics down. It was frustrating. I was trying to grow flowers, vegetables, you name it, and yet, it felt like my garden wasn't growing as well as I'd hoped. Every time I'd see my neighbor's garden flourishing effortlessly, I'd feel a bit discouraged. But, I wasn't ready to give up on something I truly enjoyed. One day, I decided I needed to simplify things. I couldn't keep spending so much on gardening products, and I definitely didn't want to work harder than I had to. So, I started looking into ways to make gardening easier, especially for people like me who wanted to keep it low cost and less physically demanding. That's when I stumbled upon some simple, free tricks that completely changed the way I gardened. For example, did you know you can use old newspaper to create a natural weed barrier? I was blown away when I found this out. It's simple, just lay down a few layers of newspaper on the soil, and then cover it with mulch or compost. It keeps the weeds from growing and saves you from having to pull them out all the time. It was a game changer for me. Instead of worrying about buying expensive weed killers or spending hours hunched over pulling out weeds, I could just relax and focus on my plants. At first, I thought, there's no way this is going to work. But I gave it a try, and to my surprise, it worked beautifully. My garden looked cleaner, and I spent far less time on maintenance. It was a small change, but it made a world of difference. That was one of the first moments when I realized that gardening didn't need to be complicated or costly to be enjoyable. And the best part? These were tricks that anyone could use. You don't need to be an expert gardener to make your garden work smarter, not harder. As I began discovering more of these simple and free methods, I felt more in control. My garden wasn't just growing better, it was becoming a peaceful, enjoyable space that I looked forward to spending time in. It's little things like that, a piece of newspaper, a recycled container, or even using coffee grounds for fertilizer, that added up to a huge change in how I approached gardening. I've now realized that it's the small, free hacks that not only save money but also make gardening easier and more enjoyable. It's about thinking outside the box, using what you have, and making things work in a way that fits your lifestyle. And I want to share these tricks with you today. I know how overwhelming it can be to try to keep up with a garden, especially as we get older. But I promise you, it doesn't need to be complicated or exhausting. You just need a few simple ideas that make a big difference. And those are the kinds of gardening hacks I'll be sharing with you today, things you can start using right away, with things you already have lying around the house. Let's kick things off with something that's super easy and free. 1. Using your kitchen scraps as plant food. Now, if you're like me, you probably throw away a lot of food scraps every day, things like coffee grounds, eggshells, banana peels, and even vegetable scraps. But did you know that instead of tossing them out, you can actually feed your plants with these? That's right. Kitchen scraps can be a powerful, free fertilizer for your garden, and it's an excellent way to recycle waste while helping your plants thrive. Here's how it works. Gather your kitchen scraps like coffee grounds, eggshells, and banana peels. For the coffee grounds, just sprinkle them directly around your plants or mix them into the soil. Chop up your banana peels into smaller pieces and bury them in the soil, especially around fruiting plants like tomatoes. And for eggshells, crush them and sprinkle them around your plants as well. They break down naturally and release nutrients into the soil. Now, why is this so effective? Well, these common scraps are packed with nutrients that plants absolutely love. Coffee grounds, for example, are rich in nitrogen, which is vital for healthy plant growth. Eggshells are loaded with calcium, which helps strengthen plant cell walls and prevents problems like blossom end rot in tomatoes. And banana peels are full of potassium, which encourages strong roots and helps plants bloom and fruit. By adding these simple, everyday kitchen items to your garden, you're giving your plants all the nutrients they need without spending a dime on store-bought fertilizers. It's an eco-friendly way to save money while also doing your part to recycle. 2. Let's talk about raised garden beds. If you're finding it hard to bend down or work with traditional gardening beds, raised beds are a fantastic solution. They make gardening easier, especially for seniors, because they bring the plants up to a height that's more comfortable to reach. However, buying pre-made raised beds can be expensive, and you might be wondering if there's a cheaper, easier option. Well, I've got a brilliant solution for you: old wooden pallets. Now, I'm sure you've seen wooden pallets lying around, whether it's in a garage, a local store, or even at a neighbor's house. They're often just sitting there, waiting to be repurposed. To make a raised bed, all you need to do is take a few wooden pallets and stack them to create a rectangular box shape. Secure the corners with screws or nails, and there you go, a simple raised garden bed. You can make it as big or small as you want, depending on how many pallets you use. Once the frame is ready, just fill it up with soil or compost, and you've got yourself a raised bed for gardening. Why is this such a great idea? First of all, it's super cost-effective. Often, you can find wooden pallets for free or very cheap. But the best part? It makes gardening much more accessible. Raised beds reduce the need to bend over constantly, which is great for your back and knees. It also helps with drainage, meaning your plants won't get waterlogged, and you have better control over the soil quality. Whether you have a small backyard or even just a patio, raised beds are an easy way to grow your plants in a way that's comfortable and convenient. And let's not forget, they look pretty stylish too. Now, let's move on to another fantastic hack: 3. Using plastic bottles as watering devices. Have you ever found yourself forgetting to water your plants? Or maybe it's just a little too tiring to carry a heavy watering can back and forth. It happens to the best of us. But don't worry, because I've got a super simple solution that will save you time and effort: plastic bottles. Here's how it works: take an empty plastic bottle, like a water bottle, and poke a few small holes in the cap. You can use a nail or a pin to do this. Then, bury the bottle upside down near the base of your plants, just deep enough that the neck of the bottle is level with the soil. Fill the bottle with water, and as the water slowly seeps out of the holes, it will keep the soil consistently moist. This DIY drip irrigation system works wonders, especially during hot weather or dry spells when plants need consistent hydration. Why is this hack so amazing? Well, first off, it's incredibly easy and completely free. You don't need to buy fancy irrigation systems or spend extra money on garden tools. Plastic bottles are something we all have lying around, and they're the perfect size for small-scale watering. The slow-release system helps ensure that your plants get just the right amount of water, reducing waste and ensuring your plants are hydrated even when you're not around. Plus, it's great for conserving water, which is a win for both your garden and the environment. 4. Alright, let's talk about pests. We've all been there, those pesky bugs that just won't leave your plants alone. Whether it's aphids, caterpillars, or even mosquitoes, pests can make your gardening experience a lot less enjoyable. And sure, you could go out and buy expensive chemical pesticides, but we all know that those can be harsh on the environment, and sometimes even harmful to you and your plants. But here's a fantastic natural solution that's simple, safe, and effective: garlic and mint. Now, this is so easy, and I bet you already have these ingredients in your kitchen. All you need is a few cloves of garlic, some fresh mint leaves, and water. First, chop up the garlic and mint leaves, just a handful of each will do. Then, add them to a jar or bowl with about a liter of water. Let it sit for 24 hours to infuse the water with the natural oils from the garlic and mint. After that, strain out the solids, and pour the liquid into a spray bottle. Once your homemade pest repellent is ready, simply spray it directly onto the leaves, stems, and soil of your plants. It works wonders at keeping pests away, without hurting your plants or the environment. You can use this spray on pretty much any plant, and it's especially great for leafy greens and flowering plants that pests love to munch on. Now, why is this so effective? Well, garlic and mint are both known for their natural pest-repelling properties. Garlic contains sulfur compounds that bugs absolutely hate, while mint's strong scent acts as a deterrent for a wide range of pests. The best part is, this hack uses ingredients that are probably sitting right in your kitchen right now, and it's completely safe for your garden. You don't have to worry about toxic chemicals that can harm beneficial insects, like bees and ladybugs, or even your pets. So, you're not only saving money, but you're also keeping your garden healthy and eco-friendly. 5. Let's talk about comfort. Gardening is so rewarding, but let's face it, it often means a lot of time spent sitting on hard surfaces, kneeling down, or bending over. If you're like me, that can sometimes lead to a sore back, knees, or hips. But here's a simple hack that will make your gardening experience so much more comfortable, and it's something you probably already have at home: old towels. Instead of splurging on expensive garden cushions, grab some old towels that you no longer use. You know those towels that have seen better days but are still perfectly soft? They're perfect for this. All you have to do is cut them into a size that suits your gardening needs, whether it's for sitting on a bench or for kneeling on the ground. Fold the towels into a thick, cushioned layer, and place them wherever you're going to sit or kneel. You can even roll them up and tie them with a string to make a portable cushion. These DIY cushions are soft, free, and can be used over and over again. You don't have to go out and buy pricey, specialized garden cushions that can cost a small fortune. Plus, they're machine washable, so you can easily clean them when they get dirty. The best part? They're just as effective as the expensive ones, and you're giving your old towels a second life instead of tossing them out. I can tell you from personal experience that having a cushion to kneel on or sit on while gardening makes a world of difference. It's not just about comfort either, it makes it easier to spend longer hours in the garden without feeling sore afterward. Gardening should be fun and relaxing, not a workout that leaves you aching at the end of the day. With these towel cushions, you'll be able to focus more on enjoying the process and less on how much your knees hurt. 6. Create DIY garden markers from rocks. You know that feeling when you can't remember which plant is which, and you end up accidentally pulling out a plant you've been nurturing for weeks? I know I've been there. But here's a beautiful and free solution: DIY garden markers made from rocks. This isn't just about keeping your garden organized, it's about adding a personal touch to your outdoor space, making it uniquely yours. All you need are a few smooth rocks. You can find these just about anywhere, whether it's in your garden or even from a walk in the park. Grab some paint and paintbrushes, and let your creativity flow. You can paint the names of your plants on the rocks or even decorate them with fun designs to add a pop of color to your garden. Once they're dry, simply stick them in the soil next to your plants as natural markers. The best part? You can get as artistic as you want, and they'll add such a charming, personal touch to your garden. Not only will these homemade garden markers help you keep track of your plants, but they also give your garden a unique, handcrafted feel. It's a great way to express yourself and make your garden even more special. Plus, every time you look at those little rocks, you'll remember the joy you had creating them. And if you ever want to change up the design or plant something new, you can easily repaint the rocks and make them fit the new vibe of your garden. It's like creating little pieces of art that also help keep your plants organized. What could be better than that? 7. Use old boots for creative planters. Sometimes, the most beautiful things come from the most unexpected places. That's what I love about gardening. It's all about repurposing and making the most of what you have. So, here's a fun and creative hack. Turn your old boots into planters. You know those worn-out boots that have seen better days but are still full of character? Well, they can make the perfect homes for flowers, herbs, or even small vegetables. Start by cleaning out the boots and removing any dirt or debris. You don't need to war. Fill them with soil and plant whatever you like, maybe some colorful petunias, bright marigolds, or even a little herb garden. Once your plants are in place, find a spot for your boots, whether it's near your front door, hanging from a fence, or on a sunny patio. Not only is this hack completely free, but it's also a fun way to recycle an item that would otherwise be thrown away. Imagine how cute and quirky your garden will look with a few old boots turned into plant pots. It's a great conversation starter, and it adds an element of surprise and whimsy to your garden. Plus, every time you look at those boots, you'll feel proud of how creative and resourceful you've been. Gardening is not just about plants, it's about expressing yourself, and this is a fun, personal way to do that. 8. Use your favorite tea bags as compost. Sometimes, the best gardening hacks are the ones that involve things you use every day. If you're a tea drinker like me, you probably go through a fair number of tea bags each week. But instead of throwing them away, here's a great way to make them work for you. Use your old tea bags as compost. It's a simple and sustainable way to give back to the earth and improve your soil without spending a penny. After you've finished your tea, instead of tossing the tea bags in the trash, simply cut them open and empty the contents into your compost pile or garden soil. The tea leaves are rich in nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, all things your plants need to grow strong and healthy. If you want to keep things neat, you can simply bury the whole tea bag in your garden, and it'll break down naturally over time, adding valuable organic matter to the soil. Not only does this help improve the quality of your soil, but it also helps reduce waste by repurposing your used tea bags. This is a perfect example of how little things can make a big difference. By using something as simple as a tea bag, you're feeding your plants with the nutrients they need, while also doing something good for the planet. It's a small, sustainable habit that can have a huge impact on the health of your garden. Plus, every time you make your tea, you'll feel good knowing that you're putting those tea bags to good use in a way that benefits your plants. 9. Create a sensory garden. Have you ever felt the soothing calm that comes with just sitting in your garden, listening to the sound of birds, or smelling the flowers? Gardening isn't just about growing plants, it's also about creating a space that makes you feel peaceful and connected to nature. That's why one of the best things you can do for your garden is to create a sensory garden. This is a garden designed to stimulate your senses, sight, smell, touch, and even hearing. Start by choosing plants that engage your senses. For sight, pick vibrant flowers like sunflowers, lavender, or marigolds that are not only beautiful but easy to care for. For smell, add herbs like mint, rosemary, or basil. Just brushing your hand over them will release their wonderful scents. For touch, plant soft, textured plants like lamb's ear or the fuzzy leaves of a woolly thyme plant. And for hearing, try adding plants that attract birds or even create a small wind chime area with bamboo or metal chimes, something that will make a gentle sound when the wind blows. A sensory garden is more than just a pretty space, it becomes a sanctuary. The smells, colors, and textures will not only enhance your garden's beauty but also your overall well-being. Spending time in a sensory garden can lift your spirits, ease anxiety, and create moments of pure relaxation. It's a space where you can breathe deeply, feel the breeze on your skin, and truly appreciate the simple joys of nature. And the best part is, creating this garden doesn't require anything expensive, just a little planning and an appreciation for nature's gifts. 10. Start a garden journal. Gardening is a journey, and just like any good journey, it's important to keep track of your progress. That's why I recommend starting a garden journal. This isn't just about writing down what you planted, it's about reflecting on your experiences, celebrating your victories, and even learning from your mistakes. Grab an old notebook or a pretty journal and start documenting your garden. Each day, take a few minutes to jot down what you've planted, any changes you've noticed, and even the challenges you've faced. For example, write down when you planted your seeds and how long it took for them to sprout, or note when the first bloom appeared. You can even add pictures or sketches, and write about your feelings as you garden. Over time, you'll have a beautiful record of your garden's journey. A garden journal is more than just a place to record facts, it's an emotional experience. It helps you see how much you've grown, not only in your garden but as a person. There's something so rewarding about looking back and seeing how far you've come, whether it's a flourishing flower bed or a tomato plant you nurtured from seed to harvest. And, when things don't go as planned, because, let's face it, sometimes they don't, your journal can serve as a reminder of the lessons learned and the resilience you've shown. It's a way to celebrate the beauty in both your garden and your life. 11. Plant a memory garden. Now, let's get a little more personal. Gardens have always been places of connection, where we make memories, reflect, and honor our loved ones. And that's exactly why I recommend creating a memory garden. This is a garden that's filled with plants or flowers that hold special meaning to you, whether it's because they remind you of someone, a time in your life, or a place that has significance to you. Think about the flowers, herbs, or trees that hold special memories. Maybe it's a rosebush that reminds you of a loved one, or lavender that takes you back to a beautiful trip you took years ago. It could be a wildflower that makes you think of your childhood home. Plant those in a specific section of your garden or throughout your whole space, and every time you see them, take a moment to remember the moments they represent. You could even add little markers or signs with meaningful quotes or dates to add to the emotional connection. A memory garden becomes so much more than just a collection of plants, it becomes a reflection of your life's journey, the people you've loved, and the experiences that have shaped who you are today. Every time you tend to your garden, you'll be reminded of these cherished memories, and it becomes a place of comfort, healing, and peace. It's a living tribute to the beautiful moments that make up your story. As you see the flowers bloom and the plants grow, you'll feel a deep sense of connection to your past and the ones who've touched your life. 12. Create a wildlife habitat in your garden. Gardening is a beautiful way to connect with nature, and it can become even more special when you start creating a space for the animals that share your world. Creating a wildlife habitat in your garden isn't just about planting flowers, it's about giving back to nature and nurturing the creatures that make our gardens come alive. From birds and butterflies to bees and small mammals, inviting wildlife into your space can fill your garden with life and give you a sense of purpose in supporting the ecosystem. Start by planting native flowers and shrubs that attract pollinators like bees and butterflies. Lavender, echinacea, and sunflowers are all fantastic for this. Add a bird bath, or even create a small pond with a fountain to provide water for wildlife. You can also set up a small log pile or leave some garden debris for sheltering insects and small critters. Planting a few trees or bushes will create shelter for birds and squirrels, and you can even hang birdhouses or bat boxes to encourage nesting. Creating a wildlife habitat in your garden allows you to see nature in action. You'll witness birds fluttering in and out of your trees, butterflies dancing from flower to flower, and bees buzzing happily as they pollinate. It's a truly magical feeling, and over time, your garden will become a peaceful sanctuary for both you and the creatures you've invited in. This isn't just about tending to plants, it's about being part of a larger ecosystem. It's a reminder that by caring for nature, we're caring for ourselves too. The emotional joy of seeing wildlife thrive in your space will leave you with a deep sense of accomplishment and a connection to the natural world that is hard to put into words. 13. Grow a garden for healing and well-being. Gardening has long been known for its therapeutic benefits, and sometimes, the most powerful garden is the one you create for healing. Whether you're recovering from an illness, dealing with grief, or just seeking peace and tranquility in your life, a healing garden can help soothe your mind, body, and spirit. This garden isn't just about beauty, it's about creating a safe, calming space where you can reflect, relax, and heal. Start by selecting plants that have soothing properties. Lavender, chamomile, and aloe vera are great options. You can also include medicinal herbs like mint, rosemary, or thyme. But beyond that, think about the atmosphere you want to create. Perhaps a small water feature, like a fountain or a wind chime, can bring calming sounds into the space. A hammock or a comfortable chair placed in a quiet corner of the garden can give you a spot to meditate or simply breathe deeply and unwind. Add a few decorative stones or create a small altar with candles or symbols that hold personal significance to you. Your garden should feel like an extension of your peaceful mind. A healing garden can be incredibly powerful. As you tend to it, you'll feel your worries melt away with each breath of fresh air. The simple act of watering your plants or touching their leaves can bring a sense of calm and connection. It's a space where you can process your emotions, find solace, and heal, whether physically or emotionally. Creating a space dedicated to healing can be an incredibly cathartic experience. Your garden becomes not just a place of beauty but a place of peace, reflection, and renewal. 14. Plant a herb garden for culinary therapy. Gardening isn't just about growing plants, it's about growing a connection to your senses and your soul. That's why I absolutely love the idea of creating an herb garden, not just for its beauty but for its ability to provide nourishment for your body and mind. Gardening with herbs is a wonderful form of culinary therapy. There's something magical about growing your own fresh herbs and then using them in your cooking. The smell of fresh basil, mint, or rosemary is enough to spark joy in anyone's heart. Start with a small space or a few pots on your windowsill. Herbs don't need a lot of room to grow. Pick your favorites, perhaps basil, parsley, thyme, or cilantro. You can even plant a small container of lavender or lemon balm. Water them regularly, and watch them thrive with minimal effort. Herbs are low maintenance, and you'll be amazed at how much joy it brings to see them flourish right in front of you. As your herbs grow, start experimenting with adding them to your meals. A sprig of rosemary on a roast chicken or fresh basil in a homemade pasta sauce. It's the simple pleasures that make all the difference. Not only does a herb garden add beauty and fragrance to your space, but it also enhances your meals. There's something deeply satisfying about cooking with ingredients that you've grown yourself. It's a true labor of love. And beyond the culinary benefits, gardening with herbs has emotional rewards too. It connects you to the earth, to the food you eat, and to the therapeutic process of nurturing something from seed to table. Plus, herbs have their own healing properties. Lavender and chamomile can help with relaxation, while peppermint can aid digestion. It's an all-around win for your garden and your well-being. 15. Create a garden for your grandchildren. If you have grandchildren or young family members, gardening can become a multi-generational activity full of love and learning. Imagine the joy of having your grandchildren come to visit and immediately being drawn into the wonder of your garden. It's not just about growing plants, it's about growing memories together. A garden made for your grandchildren is a gift that keeps giving, creating bonds that last for years to come. Create a garden space specifically for your grandchildren, whether it's a patch of land or a few planters. Let them help choose the plants, pick the colors, and even plant the seeds. Maybe you could plant flowers they can pick and bring inside, or vegetables they can watch grow and later harvest together. You could even have a small section where they can dig, plant, and take care of their own little patch. Add fun decorations, maybe some stepping stones with their names on them or a windmill that spins in the breeze. The more you involve them, the more invested they'll feel in the process. This garden will quickly become a space of joy and excitement, a place where your grandchildren can explore nature, learn responsibility, and bond with you. And just think about the memories you'll create. Every time they visit, they'll be able to point to the flowers they planted or the vegetables they helped grow. Gardening together is a wonderful way to teach them about nature and life, and it also fosters an appreciation for the environment. A garden like this isn't just about plants, it's about legacy, love, and family. It's a space where laughter and learning will bloom alongside your flowers. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Gardening is such a personal and rewarding experience, and I know many of you have discovered some fantastic tips and tricks that have made a real difference in your garden. What's one gardening hack you've tried that worked wonders for you? It could be something as simple as using coffee grounds or as creative as turning old boots into planters. Leave a comment below. I'm always excited to hear new ideas, gardening successes, and stories from the wonderful gardening community. We can all learn from each other, and I can't wait to see what gems you have to share. If you enjoyed these tips, please take a moment to like this video. It helps others find it and join in the gardening fun. And if you have a friend or family member who loves gardening, don't forget to share this video with them. Let's spread the joy of gardening to as many people as possible. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss out on more tips, tricks, and inspiration to help you live your best life in your golden years. Whether you're an experienced gardener or just starting out, there's always something new to discover. So, come along with me as we continue this gardening journey together.